Okay, guys. I think we should begin. Great. So, welcome everyone. Welcome once again to this webinar on converting more customers through email marketing. Thank you for being part of this webinar today. I'll quickly introduce the context of this session as well as Puneet, and before that, quick introduction about Digital Vidya. And I'm sure most of you would know. So, as you know, we are India's largest digital marketing education company, and this initiative of ours, when we do a webinar every Wednesday, invite an industry expert, is an initiative to create education about various aspects of digital marketing. I think this would be around 34th, 35th webinar. So we are always looking forward to not just creating this for our community, but even for us, it's a great learning platform. So I'm personally looking forward to learning from Puneet because I know the wealth of experience other people get. I think there is no substitute to that. Quickly introducing the session. So this session is about how can you convert more customers through email marketing. I think almost, if I share from my experience, almost 6 months back, we started actively using email marketing. And before that, even our experience was, there is so much of spam going on. Would email be effective? Or overall, increasingly the effectiveness of email will go down. But today I can say that it is one of the most performing mediums for us. And I know based on the training programs, based on the interactions we have done with so many corporates, however, complaints we may be making, but email is still one of the best mediums for customer acquisition. And I think we can't have, better than Puneet. So Puneet runs Octane. They are one of India's leading email marketing or on-demand marketing platform company. Puneet has almost, I think, more than 20 years of experience and been an entrepreneur, run 3 businesses, worked at various brands, some of the largest IT companies as well. So I think without taking much time, I will hand it over to Puneet. And as I shared earlier, I'm personally looking forward to learning from this webinar. So over to you, Puneet.
Thank you, Pradeep, and a big hello to all of our participants on this webinar series. Definitely on this one. If any time I lose audio connectivity with you, or if you can't hear me clearly, or if you want me to go slow, you have the option to send the text button and we'll be happy to receive your update. So I said the next half an hour, what should I share with you? And some of the thoughts I had, I spoke to some of the email marketers, some of the online marketers in India. And the challenge I have next 30 minutes, which I'll try to address, is at what level do I share this awareness or ideas? Do I keep them at a very top level of email marketing, or do we go deeper? So I'm going to try to start broad-based, but then go much deeper into it. So we'll try to also take a lot of your questions. This entire session is not about email marketing globally, but this is very specific to email marketing as it's happening in India. So the context is in India, the channel is global, but the idea of talking about this is all about in India. So let's get started. Of course, we have some of the details. You can tweet about us. You can carry on the social conversation. Some of the questions you may be thinking you don't want to postpone till later, you can put it out on Twitter or on other social media updates. About Octane, so Pradeep briefly walked you through what Octane stands for, so I'm not going to go through this in detail. But we are very much focused on India market. We work with 100 plus brands in India, and we stand for 100% Octane marketing. Some of the questions I get typically in conferences and such webinar sessions is, hey, is email marketing relevant? Number 2, there's so much of email marketing happening around us, so what about the inbox clutter? And the third, very transactional questions. How can I land my email campaigns into inbox? And how can I, make sure that Google promotion tab doesn't impact my campaign performance. So we try to address some of those questions, best practices, what works in India, what doesn't work, and some of the sunrise opportunities for email marketing in India. This is briefly about Octane. Let's move on. So in my agenda today, in the next 25 minutes or so, I'd like to walk you through 3 broad areas and have enough time for a Q&A, which can always continue post our webinar here today. One is why email marketing in India? What's the context? Why should you care about it? You have many things to worry about. Why should you worry about email marketing? Why should you invest in that platform? The second is how to get the best of email marketing. I'm assuming you're doing some level of email marketing. How can you take it to the next level, specifically when you look at 2014. And I'll back it up with some of the research that we continue to do in India, specifically around e-marketing in India, but also around, especially into email marketing as a focus, and then some Q&A. So let's get started. By email marketing, some of the data is broad-based, coming from global sources. So DMA in the US, Direct Marketing Association of Americas, they have been forecasting that for each dollar of, based on their research, for each dollar of email marketing, between $37, $38 to $44 of revenue impact, as they have seen in the US market. Let's bring it back to India. In India market, e-com companies, you would argue or agree, that stand out for best ROI on digital platforms. E-marketers in those e-commerce companies are really driving the best performance on their email and other e-marketing channels. And this is the data that you'll probably not see published at many places, but this is what's happening across the board. Venet Octane, we work with leading e-com brands in India, between 8 to 12% direct impact on revenues through email marketing month after month. And the leaders in the pack, a few of them are customers, can also go up to 20-25%. That's a peak performance, not the average, but the average would be about 15 to 20% for those big brands as well, some leading brands as well. But even the laggards in the section, the followers and not the top performers, would still be getting between 8 to 12% of their revenues, not visitors, revenues on month after month through email marketing. In my view, email marketing is important because as a marketer, as an ex-CMO, I still love the part that it completes my multi-channel experience for a consumer. Let's back it up with some more data, why email marketing is growing and why it's bound to grow. Of course, I have a bias, we are a vendor in the space, but more importantly, if you look at the growth of online in India, second highest, largest market in the world, number of users online, more people accessing internet in India on mobile internet than desktop or than landlines. If you look at, when you look at smartphone shipments in India in the last 1 year, I don't know how many of you are aware, but we are already the third largest market for smartphones in the world, right after I think China and the US or China and Japan. So smartphones, internet availability in India, more online users, and guess what? When you look at the online users, many of them report search, email, as an SMS as one of the top 3 things they do, like to do on the platforms. Let's get started. More specifically, if you're a marketer, why should you care about email marketing? You can read the slide faster than I can, but some of the attributes I love as a marketer is the fact that I can measure it in real time. I can do segmentation. It's multi-device. It's not constrained to one platform. It's interactive. It's 2 ways. It creates an engagement. And there is a long tail impact. People keep their emails in inboxes and at times go back and search if they have to specifically look for a product or an offer or a brand. There's a personalized element of it. Not all emails are equal. You can segment and send out very personalized campaigns to the same set of customers based on their user experience on your other online platforms. It's beautifully scalable and it's got amazing automation capabilities that you can all have in-house. Leads to sticky engagement. And more importantly, because of the few innovations in the last 2 to 3 quarters, you now have the ability of having live content in your emails, including live video. So the moment somebody opens your email, the live video can start streaming without the user having to activate it. So many attributes which lend very well to an integrated multi-channel experience. Now let's move forward. We've had enough of discussion on why email marketing. I'll take your specific questions on why email marketing. But let's move on to the second section, which is how to get the best out of your email marketing, specifically when you look at next 12 months of 2014. I can get started on this, and I have a lot of experience in working with brands in India. We're still looking at email marketing as a push mechanism from the brand to the consumer. And we are doing very little in India. Some of the leading brands are taking a lead in that space, which is make it user controlled, make it user preferred, make it as the user wants to see it. That may be the best way to land the campaigns in the inbox. That may be the best way to land the campaigns with the ROI numbers you're looking at. And content-led. Very often we see the brands in India are doing campaigns which are inside out, or have to let people know, let me send something out. What is the subscriber looking for? what did you commit to the subscriber? So those are some of the things where we believe we still don't see much activity with all marketers in India on email marketing. It's still many times with a push mechanism. Second, but not the second importance in that stage, 100% opt-in. We have seen a shift in India as opt-in over the last 5 years. We used to go to marketers and say, we don't have a database, we don't sell database, we don't rent database, and we won't let you use your rented databases. If you have an opt-in database, you have to use a platform. And we used to find a lot more places where we had to say no than to say yes. Glad to report that 100% opt-in is where leading brands have moved on, and some of the leading ROI indicators for these companies indicate that because of 100% opt-in, they're getting user stickiness, they're getting responsiveness engagement that's often lacking. I like to put in a context here. When we look at marketing in India on email platform compared to global benchmarks, you know, the best in class is also in India and the worst in class is also in India. We have marketers who, if they fall in their open rates between less than 24% or 22%, they'll call us up and say, why did it happen? And then we have marketers who will be very happy with 1%, 2% open rate. So that's where we believe 100% opt-in is one way to manage impact. The third thing I want to talk about is transformer. Historically, marketers in the US, in India, have looked at two channels of email marketing. I'll have alerts and notifications through transactional email alerts, and I'll have promotional campaigns only for acquisition or converting into business. We believe there's an opportunity now because the CPM rates have gone down, the cost per million email sending rates have gone down, to combine the two together. And imagine the alerts transactional alerts can get you more upsell and cross-sell and partner promo opportunities. This is one place which is a fascinating space, not only in India but globally. And a lot of companies, a lot of marketers are trying to bridge the gap. This cannot be tried in India on SMS because of regulatory issues with TRAI putting some strict guidelines. But on email, you can do seamless integration between your transactional alerts and promotional campaigns and make them contextual and relevant. Progressive profiling. Yes.
Yeah, again, sorry, I think some of the people have issue in the voice, audio.
Okay.
So maybe more closer to the mic, a little slow. I think that's good.
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Pradeep. So progressive profiling and personalization are the other attributes to look at when you look at getting the best out of your email marketing. Progressive profiling is, you as a brand want to get to know more about a subscriber to your email list. You feel like you should have more information about them when they sign up. But the user, the subscriber, doesn't want to give you too much information because they don't know you and they're only interested in some basic information to get started. Progressive profiling is over a length of email campaigns over 12 months. Can you start getting or asking for inputs around their personal preferences, personal choice, and start building this into the profiling of the subscriber? So that's one place where we believe the more profile you have information on your email subscribers, the better it will be for you to target and segment and put relevant content out there, and also personalize this. So what we are finding, the good email marketers in India, what they're doing is they're not sending out one batch of email to everybody, not one content to everybody. They're trying to personalize and make it relevant to subset of the subscribers. That works very well. Let's move on to some more things. As I shared with you earlier, sending is 1/3 of the project from an email marketing campaign. The 2/3 is about the data quality. It's about tracking. It's about segment A/B. It's about how it's being used and how it's being deployed. So most of marketers in India historically have just looked at what campaign we need. But I think we are moving ahead from that part to more specific around how can I measure it, how can I improve it, and this happens in real time. Programmatic and not ad hoc. If you're sending campaigns which are part of an engagement strategy plan, that works out better than compared to email campaigns which are thought out in the afternoon and you send something out in the evening. You can use platform features like automated triggers, which happen in real time automatically. Imagine it's being part of a CRM and not standalone. So preferences, personalization, all coming from your other systems and enabling you to do relevant personalized email communication. Things like welcome program. When somebody signs up with you, there is a honeymoon period between the subscriber and the brand. We often see in India, we just send out one campaign to tell them, hey, you signed up with us, but we fail to build on it over the next few days, perhaps next 1 week or 2 weeks, to really get them up to speed on the brand, the attributes, the promise of the subscription. So there are programs which can be run to look at how to make emails programmatically sent out and not ad hoc. I'd like to point out one place where we see an amazing insight into subscribers' activity with databases in India. Most companies are reporting to us that between 75% to 85% of the subscribers, people who give them the permission to send them email campaigns, are dormant, which means no activity, no click-through, no open over the last 6 months. We believe before somebody goes and becomes inactive with your email campaigns, as a consumer of that message, they actually give you hints. So there could be programs you could do to make sure if they become inactive, you can get them back to be active or stay active. And if they become inactive, get them to become inactive, they become active again. Most of email marketers in India are still working on non-responsive templates. We're still working on email marketing as if it's a desktop platform where your subscriber sees your email and content. Let me give you some data point. Between April 2013 and September 2013, 6 months last year, the share of people watching or seeing your email campaigns on desktop platforms like Windows, etc., went down from 80% to 57%. Means otherwise the mobile platforms doubled up in the user acceptance and people watching emails on that. Have you changed your email campaigns? We still see less than 20% of content being responsive on email marketing in India. Huge opportunity as you look at 2014. I believe sometime during February or March, you'll see the mobile platforms, email marketing, consumer mobile platforms, overtake the desktop platform. Huge opportunity here. Last but not the least, it's a platform to learn, to measure, to test, to bring in that learning in real time. ABC, we still see marketers doing one campaign, one mail at a time, whereas the opportunity is to break it. If you send out an email to 100,000 subscribers, one or two mailers, or two designs, or two test campaigns in terms of subject lines, send them to 5,000 and 5,000, and the best campaign that you get, send that out to 90,000 remaining subscribers. We're still not seeing all marketers do this in India, but we're anticipating this to become standard practice in next 12 months. Let's move on to some data points just in case you're curious about what works in India and how does it work. We have analyzed over a billion emails, half a billion to a billion emails per month, 6.5 billion over the last 12 months. In fact, if you go to our website, you can get, I don't know if you can see it, but a copy of this report. It's called Inbox. And I'm going to share with you some slides which will give you some inputs in terms of which day of the week, the best time in email marketing in India, which hour of the day, etc. So let me just take you through quickly. So best engagement rate in terms of opens and clicks is happening between Thursday to Friday. Unlike the other markets in the world, we are seeing that in India, online consumption in India over the weekend is the lowest, especially on a Sunday. And most people access internet at work or other places, but not at home, so this could explain it. So if you're planning email campaigns in India, the best engagement rates are not on weekends, but building up from Wednesday onwards and tapering off after Friday. Which hour? If you look at which hour, again, between 10 to 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then it tapers off. Of course, this varies by segment to segment, so we have detailed report available to you online for downloading. For example, in retail, this may be relevant. For example, for some of the entertainment companies, they see a spike over the weekend. So I will encourage each one of you to have a look at those reports available, downloadable, PDF, HTML, free of cost. Let's move on. Which platform? I shared some of this with you, but if you look at it, it's pretty flat out. But if you look at the Windows platform, it dips on Wednesday by opens, etc., etc. Let's move on to the next part, which is how the best engagement rates on the platform by opens. This is where you see a differentiation between 7 to 10 in the 11 in the morning. The mobile platform Android takes off, takes a dip. It spikes around 6 to 7. I'm sorry, I was looking at the Windows data. 5 to 7, 8 is when most people check their emails on Android platforms, and then it starts dipping and it builds up in the evening. Reverse is true for Windows. You see a spike, people come to the office, they check their emails, and you see a peak time between 10 to 11, 12. Try to give some data in terms of, share some data in terms of click percentage share. If there are 100 clicks on emails, which are the segments leading those clicks? So we have seen, for example, travel and hospitality. I don't know how many of you are from that segment of industry, but we've seen a spike in the last 3 months of October, November, December in terms of the performance and activity on email marketing. Which cities are more active in India on email marketing? We are seeing that overall, if you look at it, Delhi definitely had an edge. 32% of all opens on email coming from Delhi. But in the last 3 months, October, November, December, we've seen a spike with Mumbai shaping up really well, aggressively. But again, still heavily dependent on the metro areas, and we're likely to see more impact from the non-metro areas in this year, perhaps. I have shared some more insights in terms of e-marketing, what our market is looking at it from all channels. We have just launched the report with DMAI in January. But I'll pause it here and see how I'm doing on time and perhaps take you through this. I have a few more minutes. Let me just walk you through what are the highlights at all up level and what are we seeing in the business in terms of e-marketing, more specifically email marketing. We did this research with a lot of companies in India. More than 134 online companies participated in this particular research project, which went out to 380 companies, 400 marketers from these brands. Primary goal for e-marketing in India, and this is true for email as well, continues to be customer acquisition, but we are seeing a lot more focus now on brand awareness and customer retention campaigns as well. This is very important. What we see as a trend over the last 4 years, social media and email campaigns emerge as the top two sort of platforms for customer engagement. Email has been steady and has seen an increase, but social has been really ramping up, so that's not a surprise to any one of us. But if you look at email, it had dropped off last year, and it's back in the reckoning as the channel of choice in the top two. We asked this question to those marketers. We said, hey, how much is your contribution of e-marketing, social, web, mobile, etc. in the total revenue? And this is what we got to know about. So 29% of our marketers across all brands said between 11 to 30% of the total revenue is being impacted by e-marketing. I do expect a certain bias in this because this is a marketer's view of what the contribution is of e-marketing in total revenue. It'll be interesting to do next year perhaps a slice of how the CFOs have said they've seen this contribution in terms of e-marketing towards their revenues. Important for even an email marketer in India from a multi-channel perspective, most marketers are saying it can result in significant increase in conversion rates if you combine the campaigns. This is also the maturity of how multi-channel communication has happened in India. We were focused on social, there's a team on email, there's a team on web. Now we're seeing an integration of all three, and 89% of marketers have said integrating the 3 or 4 channels on e-marketing will help them get better conversion rates. Something to think about when you look at your email marketing campaigns, you have a subscriber database of people who have signed up to receive your email communication. How many of your Facebook fans are part of that list? We typically work with brands in India who have maybe 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million subscribers on their email list, and they'll have a lot more on the social platform. How can you integrate the two together? Why can't you harvest more opt-ins from your Facebook page to a simple plugin that you can use? So those are some of the things that email marketers and especially e-marketers should look at when they look at integrating channels or effectiveness of ROI campaigns. The purpose of this discussion is about how can you convert more on email marketing. One of the things to do this is through integration of multiple channels, and that can land your messages in inbox, reduce the clutter, and get more conversions. We asked a specific question. We said, what would you do more in 2014 to decrease spam and inbox clutter? Essentially, a lot of your campaigns, legitimate ones also, land up in the spam box, and generally there's a lot of inbox clutter. So how do you plan to address these issues? And a leading percentage of marketers have said we'll increase personalization and targeting, and that's the way we'll address the situation. Some of them have said, second level people have said we'll go through rephrasing of message titles and subject lines. But the bigger one, if you look at it in the graph here, is personalization and targeting. Not sending the same mailer to everybody, but maybe sub-segment them and then target them for specific areas based on personalization. We asked a specific question, hey, we have an issue around spamming in India. How should we address it? Should we have a strong anti-spam law in India, or should we look at Indian regulators to step in, like TRAI did for SMS campaigns? Should they also do something similar for email channel? Should it be self-regulation, or should there be a code of conduct by for India marketers, by industry bodies? And this is what we see here. We've seen a shift. A lot more marketers this year have said they would support a strong anti-spam law in India. Many of us are not aware that spamming already is covered in some degree or extent by the IT Act of India 2000 with subsequent amendments in 2011. So be careful. We may not have a specific law around spamming in India, but we do have a broad-based technology law which covers all aspects of computer technology and telecom, and that does have provision for customer privacy and data accuracy and data storage. So there is a coverage. We do not have a test case as yet, and I would encourage, we shouldn't be the marketers, shouldn't be the brands which become a test case for subsequent judgments on this. We asked a question, hey, and this may be relevant for you, this research report that I'm referring to is the second research report called Igniting Engagement. This is the outlook for e-marketing in India. And this is a paid research report from Octane, which is freely available for download from 1st of April 2014. Till that time, we keep it as a paid report, and many marketers find value in planning their strategies for 2014. So we asked them, hey, where would you invest a lot more money as marketing investment in 2014? And this is where we've seen email marketing continues to grow, but websites is where, and this is not, websites where we're seeing a lot more investments compared to last year. And this could be around the entire content strategy and increasing relevance in social through content and convergence through content management. That could be the reason why it's playing out so heavily. Okay, so we asked them this question, how are we doing in terms of smartphones? Smartphones is a marketing engagement channel, and this is where most folks this year have said, last year 40% of marketers said it's the future of customer engagement and we're adapting to it well, and this year it's a 45% marketers have said, yes, smartphone is where we are seeing a lot more that we have to put focus on and we're working on it. That was my quick, a few slides, etc. I've tried to give you a broad-based view of email marketing in India all up, e-marketing all up, and then how email marketing plays a role in that. And let me see if you have specific questions on email marketing, or we can keep on discussing on the points I had shared with you earlier. So over to you, Pradeep, and should you get the Q&A started?
So thank you so much for sharing those insights. Some of these are even very interesting for me as well, and really happy to hear that most of this data, by the way, as Puneet had shared, a lot of this data has come out of the research of almost 6 billion email IDs. So I think the sample space which has been used to come up with these final conclusions, I think has been reasonably broad-based for us to trust on this. Of course, this medium is changing so fast, so whatever is true today in a quarter can change, like one of the aspects of responsive. So Puneet, there are a couple of questions which are already there, and I'm sure now we will get more questions. So I will start posing them to you. So
Sure.
So Branshu had asked a question. There are many marketing newsletters that crowds a mailbox, which are genuine marketing newsletter, but without any suitable heading. These are normally identified as spam by the users. How do you identify the genuine marketing newsletter without any suspicion? So I think probably the question Subhranshu is asking, I think you can share from both angles. One is as the user and as well as a or marketer, someone who is sending the email. I think from both aspects, if you can share what is a way to prevent spam when you are sending and also when you are receiving the mails, what can you do? I think that would be useful for all of us.
It's a great question, and we all struggle with this question on a weekly basis when we work with brands in India. Let me address this question on three parts: as a user, as a marketer, and also as the platform or ISPs and ESPs. That includes Octane, it includes Google Mail, it includes Rediff Mail, it includes Yahoo Mail. What happens when you have legitimate content, and why does it land up in the spam folder and not the inbox folder? There are a couple of questions in this big question. One is around how do you stand out of inbox clutter. In my view, that's all about the user liking your content and loving with an engagement, and you cannot get over the. So there are three ways to address this. One is, of course, do you have a list which is a legitimate list? Do you have a list where the subscriber has opted in to receive your communication? And not only that, but if the subscriber said, communicate to me once in a month, are you applying that rule? Are you applying that logic? Or are you sort of going beyond that and sending a newsletter on a daily basis? So that's one part from a user's perspective. They love to be in control. For example, one of the things we like to encourage marketers who work with us in India is to have a preferences center email sent out to all the opt-in subscribers at least once in 6 months. And that will make the relevance even more important. And then the subscriber can choose, I used to receive an email deal site on a daily basis, and I would like to receive only a digest on a weekly basis. So from a user perspective, they love brands who give them the choice to control the flow of communication and the periodicity of communication. So that's the first part. The second part is content. I think you cannot get over the fact that design of content, responsive, non-responsive, keywords of the content. Many marketers in India do not realize the importance of the keywords you use in the content subject line and also the body of the text, which can make it spam friendly. So all the spamming routing rules in the servers in the globally, they actually keep on changing and evolving on a daily basis. So marketers are smart, they try to beat the system, they try to innovate, sometimes they'll have special characters. Guess what? 1 week their campaign will work, but next week the routing rules of email servers globally will increase and that will not work. So when you're writing the content, make it personalized, make it relevant of course, but also make it friendly for email marketing campaigns. You can actually ask your ESP like Octane to say, can you test out for me and let me know if I'm using the right content? Are these keywords safe keywords to use this week? And are these the safe way to sort of send a campaign out? So this is the second part is the content. And the third is email routing rules are changing. For example, with Google, we are seeing that a lot more things happening. A lot of the email providers like Google, etc. I cannot substantiate this 100%, but they're looking at how engaging is this content for other Gmail subscribers. So if you've sent an email to say a group of email IDs on a specific domain, the domain is also looking at, hey, how are my other subscribers looking at this particular email campaign? And that can have an impact also on the way the message lands up in the inbox or goes to a spam folder. Let me stop here and see if there is any follow-up question because it's a very detailed conversation. But I just try to give you a sense of at 3 levels how to navigate this.
Got it, Puneet. Thank you so much. We have another question by Shalu. Can you give an example of integration of transactional alert and promotional email? So we talked about TransPromo. So I think if you can share about that, that would be useful.
Oh, absolutely. So thank you, Shalu. It's a great question. So a transactional alert is when you do a transaction and you get an alert back as a consumer on your email and SMS. SMS you may have a limitation, but on email you can definitely upsell and cross-sell. I'll give you an example. Suppose if you're a bank and I've gone to your ATM to withdraw money as a consumer, I'll get an alert which says, SMS alert that you've withdrawn so much money and that we hope this is fine. On email, by the way, you can also say, if you know that particular subscriber has not used e-banking or internet banking as yet, you can actually say, have you tried our e-banking? Or we have missed you for the last 15 days or 35 days on e-banking or internet banking. So would you like to come online? If it's if I've done some internet banking with you and I'm getting an alert because I did some transactions on internet banking on my email, I can include messages like, hey, you've seen you've just done a transaction, here's your statement, etc., etc. but have you tried other products? Or have you tried an app that you can see, for example, for us? So transactional, so here is the deal, right? Most consumers will tell you their preferences if you ask them. We find what they do as part of their engagement with you is far more trustworthy on the consumer behavior. So capturing that as part of your transactional alerts and making it relevant is key to doing this transformer integration. Transaction alerts is what the consumers are looking for. You have a motive to let them know more about what they should explore. So embedding it, keeping it 70-30 is the rule, but you can get them to upsell and cross-sell and try parts of your product offering they've not tried. It's not just about selling something new. It's also about getting them to experience other aspects of your relationship with them.
Got it, great. Thanks, Puneet. I think that's, most of the times, transactional alerts, we don't look at that as an opportunity. Interesting. So I'm sure one of the very popular questions is about the best time of the day and the day of the week. Even our belief so far, largely was that Tuesday is one of the best days, Tuesday morning. But what you have shared is Thursday, Friday. So if you can, share again, some people might have missed because I think that's a very, very important metrics. So if you can share, and if that is different from our rest of the world, I think I would love to know about that as well.
Sure, Pradeep. So what's happening here is, and when we look at all of data, it gives you a trend, but I would strongly suggest to you and put in a disclaimer that please do not go by this trend and see what works for you and do a lot of A/B testing in your own space. Overall, what we see is that the consumption of email marketing engagement starts increasing from Tuesday onwards, and then from Wednesday it picks up, and Thursday it builds up, on Friday it peaks, and from Friday onwards it starts dipping almost to a sort of a valley by Saturday, and it's almost the most negative of the week by Sunday. However, this may not be true if you are, for example, some of our brands are cinema companies and they run full movie packed houses on weekends, and for them this curve doesn't hold true. So the best day of the week all up, if you're in a category which is not entertainment or retail or online shopping or weekend shopping or weekend travel, I would suggest that if you stay to Wednesday, Thursday, that seems to be the best suited day of the week. However, I would still like marketers to experiment and see if they can try a campaign outside of that and see if it works. So I would say look at a 3-month data in your own email campaigns and keep on innovating around it. Just don't go by what works broadly for others. In terms of hour of the day, we've seen normally the peak performance is around midday to mid-morning to post-afternoon, but also the consumption changes from mobile platforms to desktop platforms during the day. But we still feel around 2 to 30 in the afternoon is the best time. 12 to 2 o'clock is the best time to send an email campaign. But again, we have a company which sends out the massive email campaigns of the week on Friday morning 6 o'clock. They do only one campaign per week, and they send it out like systemic thing every Friday morning at 6 o'clock. And that gets them the best performance. And this is a company based out of Bangalore in the e-com space. So again, I would say yes, look at these broad directional numbers or graphs, but again, be specific to what works for you, and then review it every 3 months, minimum.
Okay. Sure, I think definitely each one of us, depending upon the vertical, could be different. Got it, Puneet, thanks. We have another interesting question, I think very relevant for a company who is not into email marketing or a new company. What are the innovative ways for them to ramp up their email marketing program if they don't have access to a large database to begin with? What can they do innovatively? So Boni has this interesting question.
Thank you, Boni. This is a question I get in many startup conferences, and this is a question we also grapple with because we are also a young company. There are few things you can do organically, and there are a couple of things you can do inorganically, where it means you have to spend some more money. Organically, are you making it easy for me to subscribe across platforms, so that if you have a Twitter ID or if you have a web page, how easy is it for somebody to subscribe to what you are saying or your subscription list? When somebody signs up, how good is your engagement. Most marketeers in India look for only big numbers to start contributing in terms of email marketing. I can tell you one of the best electronic brands in the world, Aspirational, is also in India. I cannot name them for obvious reasons. Only has 80,000 subscribers, and this is over the last 5 years. So when they came to us, they only had 12,000, and now it's 80,000. But their game is not about the number of subscribers, because the game for them is conversion, conversion, conversion. So I would say, well, number one, make it easier for people to sign up with you. Give them a value proposition why they should sign up with you. Make it easy for them to share your message with the others. So I'll give you an example. You're sending a newsletter. Most marketers in India are becoming smarter. They use social. So what they do is at a header level in the newsletter, they have a social sharing option. Facebook, Twitter, etc. for a subscriber. So if I receive your newsletter, there's a tweet button, there's a Facebook button, etc. And if I click on it, it gets shared on my social platform, assuming I'm logged into those social platforms. Hey, but you know what, as a subscriber, I don't want to share your entire newsletter. In the newsletter, you have 4 or 5 areas that you're discussing, maybe an offer, maybe something else, maybe a video. Are we making it easy for some people to share that at that particular object level, at that particular content item level, not all of them? Again, an opportunity if you're sending something out. So can you make it easier for your users to share part of the mailer with their community? And hopefully some more of them will come back and sign up with you because there's value in what you're sharing. An important also part is the inorganic way, which is you should do, if you know your target group, target audience, you should look at partnering or aligning with bodies which can help you some more signups. It could be purely commercial activity, in which case you know this is a particular company and they have the right target audience, and yes, they will charge you some money. But again, there is a caveat there. Most affiliate marketing in India tends to be towards spam, or at least appears to be spam. But if you embed that particular offering of yours or offer to sign up as part of that brand's content, personalized content towards the subscribers, we are finding that seems to be better way. So let me explain this to you. You have a message and you want to land it to a certain TG, which is not in your subscription list, or you may not have the numbers. And you want to go to a larger brand and say, you know what, can I use your list to send my message? Of course, they'll ask you for even money. But if you can genuinely create something of value for that brand's engagement with their subscribers, we have seen that the brands aren't stuck on high CPM rates or high cost per email. Of course, if you look at segmented databases, for example, we work with companies, we have publishers who use our platform for campaigns, and they can tell you very targeted audiences. For example, if you want to know who are the people in India who bought a watch worth 6 lakh rupees in the last 1 year, we have such databases available. So inorganically also there's a cost of acquisition, but if done smartly, that cost of acquisition can be reduced also. It's not always what appears on the price list. I'll give you an example further to illustrate this point. Many affiliate campaigns will remove the email label, will not tell you the subscriber how are you receiving this email promo. And in my view, in our position as Octane, we are against that affiliate marketing. The publisher may be sending an email, a promotional campaign on behalf of a partner, who should identify itself from the original source, not the new partner, not replace the email label, keep the original email label, and also keep the content as an additional service or benefit towards the subscriber, and not as a spam of a EDM from the publisher, from the advertiser. So these are a few points on which you can work. Organically, you'll start building your list over a period of time if you have time at your hand, but you'll start converting to you almost immediately. That's my submission to you. But if you have a cost of acquisition that you have planned as part of your business plan, and most marketers look at cost of acquisition, cost of acquiring a subscriber, cost of acquiring a lead, and there also email marketing can play an important role and plays very well.
Got it. So thanks, Puneet. No, I think definitely. So guys, one of the things I just want to let you know that the session is being recorded. So we'll be sharing with you the recording of this session. So that's one. And some of you, I can see that there are questions about the email marketing platform you're asking about. So I'll just quickly want to understand, if any one of you are interested in an email marketing solution, or some service where you are looking at some professional help in email marketing, so if you can quickly let us know, and Octane will be happy to reach out to you. So if there is an interest at your end to get that would be great. You can let us know. Even if you are not interested, let us know, so that we are clear that you would want to maybe do it yourself, or you are interested in doing it, not doing it right now, right? So that's one poll. I would just wait for a few seconds. While you're doing that, Puneet, one of the questions, which is of course many of us do, is can we use a mass email marketing software or a solution to send mails to a large database? So what is the benefit or the cost of doing that? I think because however hard we may try, but still many of us want to do it. It's very impulsive. It makes sense at times. So what is the advantage and disadvantage of doing that?
That's a great question, Pradeep. What has happened is that the infrastructure is one part of the equation, and the ability to scale. For example, we can go up to 5 million emails per client per hour. So if you want to send out a burst to large number of subscribers, or even segmented subscribers, but time-bound campaign, it's a product you're launching at 3 o'clock on Friday in the afternoon. So the emails have to land up by Thursday, say 4 o'clock. So such scalability is very difficult for companies to keep on building unless they are a big brand and they have a shared services model across house of brands approach, in which case they'll have this internally. So it's the good thing about such platforms like Octane is it's on demand, so you don't have to install software, you don't have to pay expensive setup costs. You can start small and keep on scaling up. Also, the benefit that you get from some of the platforms, there are 2 of them in India, including us, is where if you build up the scale and at some point in time you want to bring it in-house on premise, you have that seamless transition from on-demand, on the cloud, to something inside your business. The costs can vary from some paisa per email to volume driven. So volume driven is the best approach to take. Do not go by number of subscribers, because you may not want to send out X number of emails to the same set of subscribers. You want to have full flexibility in uploading the database, removing the database. So volumes of email may be the best way to look at cost or investment. But ultimately, any platform you choose, irrespective, please run with that platform for at least 3 to 6 months. If you're sending out large campaigns, and if the ESP says, for example, if you came to Octane and said, hey, I want to send out 5 million emails tomorrow, and you've never worked with us, and if the ESP says, sure, then that's a red flag. There's a warm-up period, there are IP addresses involved, there are servers involved, there is transition processes. So the larger the volume of the campaign, there will be gestation period, there will be ramp-up and a warm-up plan that the ESP will work with you, one time only, but that will be part of the important thing. So many email campaigns, if you want to do a short burst but high volume, may not be sustainable in-house. Your ISP may not like it. They may blacklist you and block your internet infrastructure. Also, the tools you get when you work with ESP platforms like Octane is best in breed, best in class. Some of those may be difficult to build it in-house, so it's good to go with evolution of technology. There is a reason why some of the best platforms in the world for CRM, on demand otherwise, are going out and buying leading ESP companies globally, because the email channels, SMS channels are evolving very fast. There's a lot of technology innovation that's happening, which may not be visible to you as a subscriber or a simple marketer. But there's an evolution of technology, and it's important to go with ESP. So a couple of points. One, sign up for volume-based and not subscriber-based. Second is look for gestation period, look for a ramp-up, and look for a warm-up plan. And third is stick around for at least 3 months to 6 months with an ESP to see the result of the campaign performance. ESPs have a lot of know-how. My team in India sends out upwards of 2,500 campaigns a day, or at least monitors 2,500 campaigns a day. So the insights we can bring to the table are very valuable. And if you're sending email campaigns with marketing ROI as your main driver, not a checklist or a tick in the box, then you cannot afford not to work with an ESP. So that's my submission to you. I know Pradeep, you will take this on from here, but if you also have specific questions for us later on, if you're watching this webinar recording and you have a question because you couldn't catch this live, you can definitely tweet us and send us a tweet on OptinIn at OptinIn or personally to me, and I'll be happy, or my team will be happy to respond to your specific questions and take it on. So it's not a one-off conversation, it's a continuum with us. Over to you, Pradeep.
Sure, Puneet. Guys, there's one more poll I have. Say, if you have an interest to go really deeper into learning yourself how to do email marketing or broad digital marketing. So we do a 6 months, as I think some of you are part of that course yourself. So we do a 6 months long digital marketing course out of which 1 month is dedicated to email marketing. So if there is an interest for you to learn yourself deeper hands-on, you may let us know that you may want to go through a training program. So I would want to understand that from you. Puneet, so I think a great, while people are answering to this, definitely great value in terms of choice of platforms. But one part of the question was, should people send mails to unknown people, like, people who are not opt-in? What is the advantage and the damage of sending mails to, or essentially, if you do spam, what is the cost of spam? I think if you can throw a light, that would be again very, very
So we stand for opt-in communication. So let's answer this at a very high level and a specific level on how it relates to a brand. We believe that the golden rule applies here. Would you like to receive spam if you're a subscriber? If the answer is no, then as a marketer, why send spam? Simple. But then people will say, well, I have a commercial reason, I have a short-term goal on getting some leads, and I cannot stay away. I think short-term is really short-term when you look at digital platforms, and the word goes around and it stays around. So you get one shot at building your credibility, trust as a brand, and if you lose it by sending your message on somebody else's list, so I was totally against affiliate marketing where you may not know, for example, the source of that list, and you as an advisor are sending out campaigns on that list. So I would request you to double check. Cost of spamming. First and foremost, it's about credibility online, it's about trust online. Yes, we haven't had anti-spam laws in India, and so marketers like us, we believe we can get away with it. That trend is changing. There's a lot of building trust, credibility with consumers. But more importantly, and this is where I like to underline the message, there are lawyers I know, there are people I know who will love to have a test case to take a spammer to the court under the IT Act 2000, amendments in 2011, and make a test case out of it. So let's not be, by the way, all emails that go through servers in the US, I'm told, are covered under CAN-SPAM law anyway. So there is a legal risk, there is a market risk, there is a consumer risk you're exposing yourself to if you are doing unsolicited email marketing, going beyond the issues of trust and honesty and ethical behavior online. So 3 ways to address the question, but I believe let's not become that brand which gets shamed and named by courts, by legal processes in India. We've seen how stringent are the IT Act 2000 regulations are with subsequent amendments in 2011. So let's make sure that we don't get hassled by or covered by those as a test case by a lawyer or by a consumer activist.
Got it.
Last but not the least, the
so I think, Pradeep, there are
sure. Last but not the least, Pradeep, there is if you're doing email campaigns from not law of averages perspective, but as an active mechanism to engage and improve the marketing ROI, there is no reason that you can have for doing spam communication. Sorry, over to you, Puneet.
Sorry, Puneet. So Puneet, there are many more open questions. So one is we will have to do fast, and second, probably I think we would request your support beyond this webinar. What we can do is we can email you those questions, and I think I'm sure the answers to that would be relevant to the entire community, not just here, otherwise as well. So it will be great if you could spare some time post this webinar to share our responses to the questions asked today. I hope you would not mind doing that. Having said that, quickly let's do a couple of. Thank you. So Puneet, though we talked about responsive design, if you can again, how important is responsive today? If you can share, that would be quickly, I think, useful, as that is a question being asked by a couple of people.
So there's a shift we are seeing in India. We're seeing the open rates holding off pretty well, even on mobile platforms in India. If you're sending the same message, open rates haven't taken a dip, be it mobile platforms like phones and and tablets, etc., versus the desktop. But there's a huge gap, and I would have loved to share more details. Perhaps we can send a slide to you or more information to you as part of the research. The engagement levels, which is click-through rates on email campaigns on mobile platforms in India, takes a sharp dip. I think it's 50% of what it should be if it's on a desktop platform. Why is it happening? If you're sending me a mail which is non-responsive and I have to do scroll left, right, scroll top, down to look at your mail or to look at your message, it's not going to be engaging for a consumer. So because of the big shift towards mobile platforms in India for email consumption, smartphone shipments in India, mobile internet becoming a big thing, responsive is the way to go forward, and most marketers would agree on it. The challenge comes on the definition of responsive, and I think many of our marketer friends in India do not understand responsive different from adaptive. So adaptive is different, responsive is different, and what we do currently is different. So resizing the image to make it form factor based is not responsive, it is adaptive. We look at an email newsletter these days, they're still built for click from a mouse, whereas on the mobile phone it's click of a finger. So how will the interface change based on the form factor? That's responsive. There's a lot more functionality available to you, which is responsive. So I would really encourage marketer friends out there to go online and look for more content. There's a lot of videos on what is responsive on the website, what is responsive on emailer. And of course, we are happy to help if you have a specific question on responsive. We also have a responsive template as part of a campaign infrastructure that you can leverage if you do campaigns with us, available to you, and you can replicate that and use it on an ongoing basis. Let me see if I've addressed a question or if you have a specific follow-up question.
Got it, Puneet. I think that's useful. We'll take again quickly. What is the impact of RSS feeds on email campaigns?
RSS feed on email campaigns is an important tool. If you've had a blog, if you've had a content site and people have signed up through RSS, and through RSS feeds you can start delivering real-time or automated campaigns. We see in India RSS hasn't taken off beyond the early adopters as yet. And with Google doing a lot more to RSS over the last 12 months or 24 months, I think we stopped the lead, etc. We haven't seen a big shift for marketers in India using RSS feeds to drive email content automatically. So this is happening globally, and I don't anticipate this to be a big driver, and I could be proven wrong in next 12 months in India.
Got it. Thanks. Punita, Parna has a question. You had mentioned that customers or recipients of the mail start giving hints before they turn inactive. So what are some of those hints which as a marketer we can analyze before we lose the recipients?
Aparna, this is a question to answer which we as Optim Research make a lot of money. But let me give you a hint so you'll get the context. It varies from companies to companies. We are working with specific e-com sites in India to build this predictive modeling. But I'll give an example. If a subscriber has opened your email but not clicked on it, month after month, week after week, it's trending towards a certain sort of inactivity rate. Very soon they will not even open up your email. Right now they may be opening it. So there are ways to look at engagement and see how it's trending. So we do a modeling exercise, the typical bell curve, which are the most active and what's their behavior for a particular platform or a brand, which are the second set of customers with mild, active and sort of user behavior, but big chunk, and which are the laggards, which are about to taper off. So bell curve works in this case very well. It varies from companies to companies. When we ask companies to define what is inactive for you, usually it becomes a large discussion between 4 or 5 marketing teams to define what is inactive. But hopefully I've given you a hint. It varies from companies to companies, but a leading indicator for us would be if the email is being opened up, number one, that's the indicator. If it's going downhill, then you know it's going to be an inactive subscriber soon. Second one is, yes, it's opening, but click-through is not happening. So then there is a option there. So there are multiple variants. There's about I would say 12 to 13 parameters on which you can define an activity. So, but it varies. It's a custom consulting project. But this is what we measure over campaign life cycles over the last 6 months to 12 months, and try to build some programs around it.
Thanks, Puneet. Guys, though we have exceeded the scheduled time of 4 p.m., we still have many questions. And Puneet, do we have 5-7 minutes of yours?
I can go till 4:10 past 4.
Okay, great. Yeah, sure. That would be great. So guys, if you know, for some of you, 4 p.m. is the hard stop. I think you can complete this webinar. I really want to thank you for being part of this. A little, apologies for the experience about the audio. I think that's a feedback we will definitely take care, and we will see you in our next webinar. For rest of you, we are taking extension of 7-8 minutes to at least cover a few more questions, because I can see still many more questions open, right? Puneet, there is a question about how effective is A/B split testing. Maybe you can share some example, how it really made a difference in an email marketing campaign, and a way to do that.
That's a great question. In fact, many marketers we work with are not limited to only A/B. They are going A, B, C, D, E, F. So they're going with multiple variations. Some of the common questions we get is, hey, what's a great subject line? What's a great mailer design? Which content element in my mailer should be positioned on the top side of my mailer, and which one should be on the bottom side of my mailer? And I can give you very generic Gyan, I can give you very trending data. But what we encourage marketers to do is test, test, test. What works for the biggest retail brand, and even if it could be a retail company, may not work for you. Your subscribers could be different, their behavior could be different, their drivers could be different from the subscriber has signed up for the other list or other brands list. So what we encourage is to look at A/B. A/B is the thing. I mean, if I was to define a checklist or a rule book, I would say if you're a digital marketer in India, on email, on social, on other channels, SMS, web, A/B is what you live and die by on a daily basis. So there's no getting away from it. I mean, that's non-negotiable. If you have a marketing team and they don't do A/B, please go back and say, I want to see A/B. There's no way you can ascertain the best subject line, the best content flow, or the best looking design, best looking content, best reading content by yourself. I don't know if I'm being repetitive, but responsive and A/B testing, these are two things which will really impact your campaign performance, irrespective of the platform. You could use anything and immediately see a spike in the campaign conversion.
Got it, Puneet. Puneet, I think there's one more. Given Google has defined 3 tabs for email box: primary, social, and promotions, and surely everyone wants to get their emails in the primary part. If you can throw some light about getting your emails into Gmail as a primary, and what does social and promotion means, that would be, I think, useful.
Okay, so I cannot address this question very directly, because there are things which are still work in progress with Google changes. But there are things we have seen, and I'd like to share some of those pointers with you. Google loves good content. Google loves good engagement. So if you're engaging well with the Google users, you'll start seeing a lot more inbox versus spam. Also, Google has tried to do differentiation of transactional alerts versus promotional alerts. I cannot be more specific, but I've talked about trans-promo. That could be an opportunity for you. You can do short-term, tactics like asking subscribers to move their email from promotional campaigns to inbox. But there is data in the US. We'll have more data on this in India as well very soon. But there's data in the US which says when people are clicking on the promotional tabs, there is a user shift, a user behavior shift. They're actually looking for information that they can use towards those transactions. Essentially, they're in a shopping mode. So in the US, companies have reported, brands have reported that they saw a dip, but then as the users became smarter and they figured out that I can go for looking for offers and good deals in the promotional tab, and it removes and takes away my clutter from my inbox, they're coming around. We're seeing some trends in India, but I don't have a definitive answer on that as yet. So maybe by March end we'll have some more data on that. But good engagement will get you good conversions on Gmail inbox. The one question I get asked, given that 60 to 70% of emails in India for promotional campaigns or transactional alerts are going to Gmail inboxes, how can I land inbox in Gmail? There's no shortcut. It's part of a well thought out strategy. Opt-ins are very important. I can give you more definitive answers on other platforms, but here it's complete work in progress. But content, opt-in, these are some of the ways to land it and make it more effective. But Google does track, I'm told, to some extent, how other Gmail users are responding to your content, and that also has some implication. I don't have percentage points on the engagement that you get from inbox. So I won't be too worried about how many of my emails are going to promotional tabs versus the inbox tab. Most consumers also don't like to see the clutter in the inbox. I know it doesn't sound right as if you're a marketeer, but that does work. They love to see the differentiation. And I think in the US we do have research reports and research data. In India we'll be coming up with more definitive data on that.
Got it. Great, Puneet. Puneet, we'll take one more question.
Sure.
While there are no standard benchmarks, but there are questions about what is a good open rate, what is a good click-through rate. So if you could, share, like, these are the numbers we should aim for, and I'm sure industry-wise it would be different. But for someone to know, are they doing at least at average level or exceptional level, what would be some benchmarks they can keep or aim for, especially about open and click-through rate?
Well, this is where it's very tricky, because whatever I share with you will become a proof point for the marketeer against his team. More importantly, it's not about what the other guy is getting in your particular domain. If you're a travel company, what's a travel company in India getting? That's an important benchmark, and that we share as part of our service excellence review, not naming the other clients, but we do an all-up. The way I was sharing information with you on all-up India data, we do an all-up India cut by verticals, and you can get that in the inbox report, freely downloadable on our website. But more importantly, more than what's the other guy getting or the best open rate, click-through rate in your vertical, what's important is, are you seeing a trend upwards? If you're not seeing a 10 to 15% growth quarter after quarter, every 6 months in your inbox open rates or click-through rates, then clearly, if it's going down, if it's flat out, then clearly you need to rethink your email marketing strategy. And we believe, so overall, I would be a happy brand if I get anything between 15 to 25% open rate. I know I'm putting a number out there, it's risky, but disclaimers apply. And again, click-through rates, 5 to 6%, 7%, though we have brands, we have campaigns where the open rates have been 50% plus, where they get very 16%, 16% click-through. But those are smaller databases, those are very personalized campaigns, those are very segmented campaigns. If you do a broad-based campaign, the numbers will dip down. So I don't know if I've addressed your question, Pradeep, but so it's one area where I believe it should be measured of quarter on quarter than what the others are getting.
Got it, Puneet. So guys, I think it's already 4:10. I am really amazed to see the number of questions which are still there, and I have seen people posting almost as high as 15 questions, and more than 70% of the people staying till the end. I think speaks volume about the interest about this topic. However, I think we'll have to close the webinar at this point of time. You feel free to reach out to Puneet as well as Octane, and as I shared earlier, we will be sending you the recording of this session. Thank you once again, and Puneet, thanks a ton for being leading this session today. I think it has been really interesting. Even for me, there is a lot of learning, and we look forward to having all of you again in our next webinar.
Thank you, Pradeep, and it's a wonderful opportunity. And my apologies, the audio was not very good quality audio from my side, but thank you for the opportunity, and look forward to engaging with the marketeers on the platform of email marketing. Thank you.
Thank you.